we're rallying broader coalitions of countries to these efforts, such as the Media Freedom Coalition. This is a group of more than 50 countries that share our commitment to press freedom as well as to the safety of journalists. So, for example, when we call out Beijing for cracking down on independent media in Hong Kong, we're doing it together with countries from every part of the world. And we're using targeted sanctions to impose costs on the perpetrators of such attacks, including new authorities we created like the Khashoggi ban. Around the world, governments as well as non-state actors like terrorist groups and criminal organizations threaten, harass, imprison, and attack journalists every week. 293 journalists were behind bars at the end of 2021. That's a new annual record. This is according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. The PRC continues to hold the highest number, imprisoning some 50 journalists, including 8 from Hong Kong. And with that, I'm happy to take some questions.
Start with Stacy Su from the Central News Agency of Taiwan.
Thank you, Secretary, for doing this. The State Department's Human Rights Report has for many years expressed this concern that Beijing is trying to influence certain media outlets in Taiwan by either pressuring their parent companies' business interests in Beijing or pressuring companies with operation in China to avoid advertising with outlets that publish articles critical of Beijing. I'm sure that happened not only in Taiwan but elsewhere as well. So based on the U.S. assessment, how serious is this problem? And how can we avoid erosion of Taiwan's press freedom? And secondly, if I may, there have been concerns that with Elon Musk's business ties to China, his acquisition of Twitter may allow Beijing to influence or censor critics on the social media platform. Do you agree with this concern? Thank you.
Thank you. So to the first part of the question first, Taiwan is quite literally on the front lines of the PRC's hybrid warfare, including disinformation, including cyber attacks. And these are designed to basically distort the information environment and democratic processes. So we've partnered with Taiwanese authorities on this, civil society organizations, to support independent fact-based journalism, to try to build societal resilience to disinformation and other forms of foreign interference. But it's something that we look at very closely and that we continue to work on. Second part of your question on Twitter. So let me say first, private company. I'm not going to comment on what is hypothetical at this stage. Let me say more broadly, though, in response to the question. As we've just discussed, free speech, including free media, including platforms of one kind or another, are incredibly important to the Biden administration. We've made that clear at home. We've made that clear around the world. And I would say, again, and this goes to the first part of your question as well as the second, we've been deeply concerned about what we're seeing from the PRC in terms of its misuse of technology to try to do things like increase surveillance, harassment, intimidation, censorship of PRC citizens, of journalists, of activists, and others. And that includes abroad. At the same time, we have a total imbalance because these very same leaders in Beijing are using the free and open media that we ensure, that are protected in democratic systems, to spread propaganda, to spread disinformation. And ultimately, that's an unsustainable proposition. Now, it also appears that they are further using these systems to stalk, to harass, to threaten critics who are outside the PRC's territory. We've condemned and we've taken action against these efforts, and will continue to defend the principles of free press, an open, secure, reliable, and interoperable internet, and the benefits that flow from it.